I recently had a wonderfully productive conversation with a woman who'd been struggling with sleep. And her real issue that was going on, like, there are a bunch of surface layer issues that weren't important, but the real issue, the important issue, feeling like she would fall behind if she didn't work, if she didn't take care of other people besides herself. That if she spent time, she equated herself with a failure. Deep down, she didn't believe in herself. And as a result of this, and in combination with other forces like having a crazy busy job, a nanny, sometimes working 15 hours a day, taking care of other people's children besides her own, taking care of other people's families besides her own, working 7 days a week, having to take care of pets, her family. It was like so much responsibility. And she had a well-trained, people-pleasing mindset that really did genuinely care for other people. And she was a great nanny. This brought her a lot of stability in her life. It brought her a lot of things. She loved her job. So there was a lot of benefits to the job she had chosen. She was good at it, but there was a lot of pressure, and she wasn't sleeping at night. That was the root of this. We initially she found me because of emotional eating and so forth, but as we kind of built our relationship, and I kind of was able to hear what was going on. It was like, wait a minute, where do you spend time for you? Where do you spend time for you? Because she was saying, she's emotionally eating, and one of the first questions I'll ask is like, how much are you eating and so forth, and what are you eating, and how are you feeling? She's very fatigued, very anxious all the time. So that was like a alarm for me. What? All the time? Okay. What's going on? How many hours of sleep do you get? 3 to 5 hours a night? It's not enough. And so she had in the back of her mind known that sleep was a hugely important aspect of this. She had known even before she reached out. She reached out for emotional eating, but she knew this whole sleep thing was just wrecking with her body, her mind. She had read studies that lack of sleep is like having a 6-pack of beer every day. She had read studies that being overweight is highly correlated with lack of sleep. And so she kind of reached out with the general eating, general wellness, general sleep. But she also, I remember one of the first things on her call was like, hey, I don't have, on the first 45-minute session call, the free thing on the website, she said, I don't have 45 minutes. I have a half hour. And, there was just this urgency from the beginning of our relationship. And I felt that. And this urgency was, you can imagine her body was tense. This, like she was carrying a weight. All the people's families she was taking care of day after day, running around, thinking. It's like a weight. And at the heart of it, though, even deeper than all this extra weight, was that if she cared for herself, if she let herself feel what she really felt, it would be bad. It would be bad to really feel what she felt. And this relationship to herself, that if she feels what she feels, it's going to be bad. That's an avoidant relationship. That's a relationship where you feel bad and you run away, and that's natural. Like, I'm not saying that to be defensive, because I do it too. That's why we all need some support in our life, a little help from our friends to kind of keep us on track, and to realize that part of you that feels bad, that's actually not you. So, how we started working with sleep, specifically sleep. We first started kind of talking about these things, these mindsets. And I'll go over some techniques in a little bit. I'll go over them in a little bit. But it's these mindsets around sleep, around self-care. These are so important. So important. Because our thoughts and feelings determine how we act. We can't just change our action without changing our thoughts and feeling. And if we try to change your actions without changing the thoughts and feelings, it's like New Year's resolutions that only last a few weeks. That's what so many people do, is they try to change their behavior without changing their mindsets, without changing their thoughts and emotions. So with sleep and self-care, we started talking about these bad feelings she gets when she pays attention to herself, how she really feels. What's her relationship to those feelings? Because her stance is not feel them. If she feels them, it means she's done something bad. Like, when she was really honest, this was a great conversation, but when she was really honest, and we were feeling those bad feelings, and she was feeling them, and I kind of asked, like, okay, what do you think these bad feelings are telling you? And her gut instinct was that she had failed somehow. So fortunately, that day, she was able to clearly see that she had not failed. We were talking around afternoon time. She had, actually had the best day. She was really excited for the call. And so she had a great day that day. So she hadn't screwed up, yet she still felt bad, and she still felt she screwed up. So we created a little distance, being able to see that these feelings aren't necessarily true. There might be some truth to these feelings, but it might not be the whole truth. And then we kind of started talking about this self-care thing. About, is it really true that you don't have any time for yourself? And she was able to switch her answer. Before, she said, no, I don't have any time, but also, too, a little side story, our relationship is pretty good, so I was able to pinpoint and kind of call out some things that were a little interesting. Like, she said she has no time, but she made an offhand comment that she spends way too much time on Pinterest. And so I was able to kind of tease her about that. Oh, you thought you said you had no time. Hey, you said you had no time. You're on Pinterest? What's going on there? Seriously, what's going on there? What's going on? You feel like crap. You're not taking care of yourself. And I'm not saying it in this tone. I'm saying you aren't feeling well, right? You are. It seems like you're doing Pinterest. Do you see how avoiding bad feelings leads you to Pinterest instead of self-care? She was able to say, yeah. And fortunately, we had identified some of her values and her vision and kind of what she wanted. And we were able to say, is that in alignment with your values? And she's like, no, but I can't get 8 hours of sleep a night. And so I said, whoa. So this is a huge thing that comes up for a lot of people. They try to bite off more than they can chew. And so instead of even biting off a little bit and starting to make progress, they just don't do any action at all. So for her, she had thought, she had kind of this weird assumption in her head, and I get this, I've heard this a lot before with people, because this issue of self-care comes up so much. She had thought she needed 8 hours of sleep to do self-care, to do the sleep. She's like, that's not happening, therefore I can't take care of myself. And I've heard this before with different answers, like, yeah, I don't have time for an 8-hour spa on the weekend. Like someone said, you know, they didn't have time for a spa on the weekend to practice self-care. So people conflate self-care. And one of the key mindsets, so we're going over a couple mindsets. One is you gotta let yourself feel the bad feelings. You gotta have that relationship there where you're not avoiding the bad feelings. But the other mindset is one of curiosity. One of it's curiosity. It's trying small things and seeing how they work. Just seeing how much time it takes up, how it makes you feel. Was it easy? Was it easy to understand? Just like holistically, how does it make you feel? And from this mindset of letting yourself feel the bad feelings and to take care of the bad feelings with little tiny steps that you can adjust, that you don't have to commit to for the rest of your life, but just doing them, just see how they do them, and having a vision in place. You know, these are things that I love covering. They're just so important. And yeah, so let's go over some general sleep strategies. One, if you have these mindsets and your room is light, noisy, and hot, guess what? It's got to be cool, dark, and quiet. Easy tip. I'd invest in I have a black beanie that I pull over my eyes. All the shades are down. It's cool. Number two, this is a big one for me. Less coffee later on in the day. So I used to have coffee at like 5, and I knew coffee wouldn't help with sleep, but my rationale was, hey, okay, I'm gonna go to bed at 11. I'm having coffee at 6 or 5. So I got 6 hours for the coffee to wear off. Coffee only lasts like maybe 5 hours, the energizing effects. Around 3 hours, it's kind of starting to go down. 5 hours is gone, right? Well, the energizing effects are gone for me. This is how coffee affects me. But for me, my sleep was much worse. And it was a very simple test. Just, okay, today I'm gonna have coffee latest at 2 p.m. I got way better sleep. That's how we gotta do it. That's how we gotta do it. Little things. Little things. Curiosity. Trying new strategies out. So those are 2 tips. Another one. Supplements. Herbal tea. And CBD. This woman is finding CBD to be highly effective. Highly effective. Because she's carrying all this stress and we're working through muscle relaxation and different things, but CBD is doing the trick, and that's a beautiful thing to see. And then lastly, having a bedtime ritual, some sort of ritual. And the analogy that I give for this is like, you gotta land the plane. If you're just up here flying around, what would a plane do if it suddenly stopped moving? Because when you go to sleep, you basically stop moving, you shut your brain down. Well, if a plane shuts down in mid-flight, it's gonna crash and burn. So if you're flying around busy day, and you just try to hop in bed and lay still, you're gonna crash and burn. And I don't mean crash like crash fall asleep. I mean crash, toss and turn, get up, not get any sleep, get back to bed, constant like, no one wants that. So the mindset we were working with her is, hey, you're spending an hour in bed just tossing and turning. Like, this is happening 7 days a week. Why don't you try to do a little bit of like a reading for yourself? Or we actually came up with a list of activities. She was able to recall this. It was reading, books. Oh, there were like these images, drawing, things like that she actually were creative. She was a creative person. And so, doing these things was good. And so we're trying out different strategies. She's finding the CBD helpful. The muscle relaxation is helpful. So anyways, there's 1,000 different sleep techniques out there. The point of this video is to highlight that you need to approach them with an attitude of curiosity and letting yourself feel uncomfortable emotions. So, which sleep technique is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Peace.